How do we use technology to create jobs for unskilled people? Welcome to another Machine Monday. So in South Africa, we have a really unfortunate statistic, and that is 75% of our youth is actually unemployed. So this is the story of Goodwill, who was previously unemployed and didn't have the opportunity to complete school. So we've used Goodwill as a case study to see how can we use technologies like virtual reality and some other technologies to actually empower Goodwill to perform tasks on a production line. So the first step in our process is to do virtual reality training, as you see in this video. The advantages of virtual reality training are Goodwill can practice the process repeatedly. We actually give Goodwill a score of how well he's performed. And if he hasn't performed well enough, he can repeat the process at no real cost or risk to the production process. Once he's become proficient in virtual reality, we can then send Goodwill onto the production line. And what we've been able to do on the production lines is actually incorporate digital work instructions that match what Goodwill saw in the virtual reality simulation. This brings Goodwill much closer to the real life scenario that he would have practiced in virtual reality onto the actual production line. One of the key parts of our system that we've developed is also this integration of the hardware into the digital work instructions. And this analogy is very much what Google Maps is. So for example, Google Maps uses GPS systems to track where you are and read and direct you to your final destination. And if you make a mistake and you forget to take a turn off, Google Maps redirects you to the most efficient way to get back on track to the final destination. And this is the advantage of connecting our hardware and integration of our systems to the digital work instructions, is that if Goodwill makes a mistake on the production line, we're able to redirect Goodwill back on track to make sure that the quality of the part he produces is correct. The next piece of tech that we've introduced into this whole skills development lifecycle is what we call virtual devices. And virtual devices are smart devices that have been developed using machine learning algorithms and computer vision to track the process. So for example, over here you see we're now tracking the sequence in which Goodwill tightens the bolt. And if the bolting tool is in the wrong sequence, we actually disable the bolting tool, preventing Goodwill from making a mistake. So we've used advanced technologies to really empower Goodwill to make sure he doesn't make mistakes in the production line. One of the other benefits of these virtual devices is that it reduces the cost of the equipment on the station. And in some cases, up to 50% of cost savings can be experienced by our customers by creating virtual devices versus the actual physical devices. And the last piece of the puzzle is performance data. Because we're tracking the process at a granular level, we're able to understand the details around Goodwill's performance. And what we've been able to do is create these operator dashboards where Goodwill can actually analyze his own performance and see where he needs improvement. So for example, over here, we can see the time it takes to scan a barcode is actually getting quicker and quicker, which means Goodwill is performing much better. However, we see at the bottom chart over here, the time it takes to bolt a bolt is actually taking longer and longer. And so we can then give Goodwill some additional training to improve his performance on the bolting times. And the key point of all of this data is that we can then feed this back into the virtual reality simulation so that Goodwill can go and practice the things that he's struggling with and become better and better at it. And this is what we call a closed loop system and what we call a smart worker platform. Here's another Machine Monday.